Okay, so today we are going to be using one of my favorite die sets, and this is from last year. These are what we call essentials or bestsellers. So check out the website, have a look at the essentials. And this is the basic Christmas shapes. Now, I love basic shapes because they give me so much more creative room to work in. And what we're going to be doing today is taking some of these basic shapes and we're going to show you how to make cards, how to make tags, how to make your own wrapping paper, and so much more. But I'm going to start off. I'm going to take this little guy. And here are the shapes. Let me show you them on the back like that. So those are the size of them. And this is my gingerbread man, gorgeous little die. And I'm going to use him to cut stencil film. Now, if you've never come across stencil film before, this is it. You get 10 sheets in a pack, and it's absolutely wonderful for using inking techniques through. It's a very thin film, so you get a lovely crisp edge, as I hope we're about to see. So let me bring in my Big Shot fold away to start with, and pop the guy over the center of the stencil film, thus, and wind it through. Now, with stencil film, of course, it's more about what's left behind, but we're going to use both the positive and the negative today. So I want to show you, but before we really get cracking, let me show you the kind of thing that we're going to do. So these are just this is a card that I made, and this is the wrapping paper. So you really can create your own Christmas vibe. Go with the colors that you want, go with the textures that you want, the techniques that you want. It doesn't take long to get a lot of this wrapping paper done, and you can do all the presents. But this can translate as well to your Christmas table, your place settings, maybe I don't know, maybe a name. Yeah, everybody's name around the table. I've got 13 this year, I think, and I shall be in the kitchen. So things like that, you know, the decor, everything to do with Christmas, you can do with your die cutting. And at the moment, we're all about saving money. So there you go. There we are. There's another one now. This is using the Christmas tree from that set. And here is some Christmas wrapping. And I'm going to be telling you about how to get from A to B and how to apply these wonderful techniques. It's so simple, you won't believe. So let's just pop those to one side for a second and get back to my wee gingerbread man. Now, there we have it. There's the cutout. There's the positive and the negative, obviously. To use this, what I'm going to do, because I'm going to be inking through this, I'm going to pop these in a little box on the side, and I'm going to take some, and I know it's here somewhere because it's always here somewhere. It's just where, isn't it? So I've got some. This is Spray Mountain's 3M product. It's really cool. It's a repositionable spray adhesive, and I'm just going to give a light dusting over my die cut shapes, because the next thing I want to do is take a piece of. And I'll bring my media mat in there. It's a piece of craft card which is pre-stamped, as you can see, using the Simple Sayings stamp set designed by Mr. Tim Holtz, and you can find that on the Sizzix website, actually. So the first thing I'm going to do, I want to create a shadow. Now, I could just ink through this, like so, but I'm not going to do that. So that's slightly offset to the right. And I'm going to take this shape. You see what I'm doing here? I'm actually offsetting that, pushing it back, and that's why I use this spray adhesive, so that that stays in place. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not about perfection. And let's take some of my distressing. So I'm going to use walnut stain and brushed corduroy today. The walnut stains are very dark ink. Brushed corduroy is a much warmer ink. So we'll take that, pick up some ink with our tool, and this is the Sizzix multi-tool with the blending head. In case you've never seen that, go to the website and check it out. It's wonderful. Very ergonomic, very simple, very intuitive to use because you're holding it like a pen, basically. So we'll just ink through. getting some more depth around the edges, because this is going to be our shadow layer. There we are. And because this is specially formulated, this stencil film, so it allows your foam pads to glide over the top. So there's no drag at all. And there we are. That should be my shadow. That's the plan anyway. Now, if I peel that away, what we are left with now is that really sort of deep shadow, which looks quite cool by itself, I suppose. But we're not going to leave it there. We're actually going to take this stencil film, peel away the positive, and apply the negative once more. Now, I'm not joining up exactly with the shadow. I'm slightly offsetting it, leaving a little gap in between. Now, this is where I'm going to ink with my brush corduroy. We all have our favorite colors. I don't know what yours is. Brush corduroy is one of those. It's a lovely, rich brown color. It's got quite a bit of red in it. It's almost, it could work with reds, it could work with oranges. Very, very warm. Whereas the walnut stain, on the other hand, is a very deep, dark, rich, forbidding color. I love walnut stain. And there we are. So it's always good to go over it a couple of times, especially with craft card. Really let that ink penetrate the card and keep it in smooth circular motion. And look how well this stencil film stays in place. Just a little bit of spray to help you get going. Now, that should be enough. So I'll put the foam back on there, and I'll pop these back to one side and peel that away. Wow, how about that? Now see the difference there, see the difference, that warmth that you get, and then that smacks of gingerbread. You could even add some orange to that if you want to get some extra warmth. But I'm going to pop that back down, because here I've put a couple of blobs of acrylic. One I mixed quite creamy, the other one I mixed to a sort of a dark brown. You can use black and white, doesn't really matter. Crucially, what I'm doing is using, doesn't matter if they blend together, I'm using my palette knife there just to get them to a milky, or rather a creamy consistency. And then I'll come in with the darker one as well. You see, I'm not worried about them kind of mixing together, but you do need to get it to the right sort of consistency, because this palette knife, you can see it's been through the wars, doesn't really matter. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to flick some of this onto the body of the wee man there. And let's pick up a bit more, and we get that nice fleck, as you would get in gingerbread or any kind of biscuit. So, and I don't mind if I come over the edge. That is part of the charm. That is where we embrace the imperfection. So let's wipe that off and bring in some of our cream color. Ah, that's brought it to life. That's quite wonderful, isn't it? So I'm going to pop this to one side, and I can finish this off later. We'll just let that paint dry, because I want to look at the next technique that I'm going to use. And I have got some paper towel down here, so let's just clean that off and let that live to fight another day. The great thing about using these media mats is the way that it comes up clean. And there we have it. So this guy I'm going to put to one side, and we're going to talk about the wonderful Christmas tree. It's a gorgeous shape. The name of the designer isn't on this set. I think it might be Debbie Lightwood. I'm not sure, but I think it might be. So let's just peel back that and bring in my Big Shot fold away again while that one dries. Now, with the tree, it's a lovely effect. And if I move this about, you can see how the light sort of plays on that. And I'm using a wonderful product, which is, of course, a Sizzix product. And that is it is our decorative foil sheets. Now there are 10 in the set. These are silver. You can see I was so excited to use this product, I just ripped the packaging apart. I couldn't wait to get in there. The thing about this is it's wonderfully smooth and even, but we're going to do something which will probably horrify many of you, but hey, what the heck. So I'll pop that to one side. I'm also using some adhesive sheets. Now, again, there are 10 in the pack, and pretty much what these are, they're 6 by 6, and they are, as the name suggests, adhesive, but it's almost like double-sided adhesive. It's double-sided tape, only much larger. So we're going to combine those two wonderful products, and let me just grab a piece of card. Now, you can use any cardstock for this. It doesn't really matter about the color or the texture, but I'm using a piece of smooth card, and I'm going to cut the adhesive sheet to size. So let's pop the card over the adhesive sheet like so, and just trim that so it fits perfectly. Now, two things you can do with this adhesive sheet when we are working with die cutting. First and foremost, so I'll lay that down. I've peeled off the backing. I'll lay that down there. Now, if I cut my shape from this, then I can stick it straight down onto a cut. All I need to do is peel away the backing, so I can stick it straight down without any fuss or bother, which is ideal if you're using very fine die cuts, so you don't want to get any glue residue. Another thing you can do is what I'm about to show you, because I'll take the gorgeous Christmas tree from our set, and of course we do have the Christmas tree, the stocking, the gingerbread man, Santa, and the snowman. But I'm going to use the Christmas tree, and yeah, we'll keep that for later as well. Let's pop those to one side. So I'm placing it against, this is the adhesive onto the card, and I'm placing it against that like so before sandwiching it between my two cutting plates and passing it through my lovely Big Shot fold away. So let's grab the cutting plates, pop that there. So always sandwich between the two plates, like so. So when we're using wafer thin dies, when we're using big dies, when we're using 2D embossing folders, the only difference, I'm going to use the star as well, the only difference is with 3D embossing folders where you only need the one plate, but always refer to the instructions on your platform. That's what makes die cutting with scissors so easy, to be honest with you. So we'll pop that into there, run it through, and I'm going to show you a great hack in a minute as well. So we die cut that, and sometimes, as with this die, the blade is on the outside. What that means is, you see, we get this, you see this embossed line around that tree. It gives you a lovely feature, but some people don't want that embossed line. So I'll show you a way to rectify that. So let's get my craft knife, just pop this star out. So what I'm going to do is run this back through the machine without any die in place. And what that will do, it will smooth out any lines or any vestigial emboss that maybe you didn't want at all. So that's going to really flatten the die cut shape. Perfect. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Big Shot Fold Away. Now we'll pop that just out of the way. Now, there's our shapes. We've got the star, we've got the tree, and we've got a wonderful decorative foil sheet. Now, first thing I can do is take this and peel away that backing. So that's going to expose the adhesive. And of course, the adhesive runs across the whole of the die cut. They're really, really cool product, adhesive sheets. So many unique ways of using them, and of course, it really does make die cutting a joy because you can bring in so many products. We could now sprinkle these with glitter. We could sprinkle them with embossing powder. and then heat emboss, but we could use the flakes. We could use the flakes, the foil flakes, of course, but today it's about these foil sheets. Now, what is so nice about them? It's almost like, gold leaf. We remember that from the past. And it's so smooth and clean. Now, what I'm going to do is scrunch it up. I really shouldn't do that, but you know what? Hey, it gives you a wonderful effect. So I make no excuses for this. So I've given that a good old scrunch, and you can see now the kind of effect that we are going to get when we apply this. So there's my die cuts. I'm going to pop this on the top like this. Now, at this point, you could use a brayer. If you want to roll that out, you can use your fingertips. You can use whatever you have to hand. So I'm pressing that over that lovely double-sided adhesive. And wow, when you take that away, holy moly, look at that effect. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Really, really nice. You can keep reapplying this. You can get in those cracks. You can apply some glitter over those cracks. But I like the cracks. I like them like as they are. It's kind of a really cool effect. So there we have it. Now, that, of course, let's put this against my jumper. You can see the parts that I use. Normally, I would put that in the corner so that I can still use the rest of it. I can absolutely still use the rest of it. So that I will put away to use again at some point. Now, let's have a look. Let's bring this out, and we'll put it onto the front of our card. But something I want to show you, a really cool thing, and it's something I've been doing for years, and it's how to get kind of a faux stitched effect. So if you don't want to get your sewing machine out, but you still want to get that nice stitched edge around it, I use one of these. It's called a pattern maker's wheel, and it's got these lovely teeth on it, and it's a dressmaking tool. It's not a craft tool at all. But what I'm going to do now is take this, use my steel ruler, and run it down the side. And you can see I haven't been careful at all about doing it at the correct angle. In fact, you don't even need a ruler if you want to get a really organic, wonky line. That's absolutely fine. It really does help the aesthetic. So maybe a couple of lines at the base. You can see I'm doing it off center. There we are. And we're getting that lovely, it's a faux, sort of fake stitched effect. It's really, really cool. And I can do the same. I can do the same with my gingerbread man into the craft card like that. There we go. Oh, look at that. Pete's ruler. Have to put my name on the ruler, or Josh and Jess will steal it. Borrow it, I should say. There we are. And I'm sure they say the same with me. Probably a lot worse, actually. There you go. So we'll make that around the edge. Then once it's done, you can distress the edges if you like, using your distressing tool, which comes with your multi-purpose tool as well. But there are the two bases. Here are my die cuts, and I want to use some Sizzix foam tape. And you can see the tree. Talk about this. These makes have got a real organic quality, and you know what? We don't want to waste good card where possible. So this is an old piece of packaging. This is an old, I think it's die packaging, I'm not sure. But, don't just throw that stuff away. Reuse it, really love it. You can paint over it, you can ink over it, you can use your foils over the top. It's entirely up to you. But see, there's part of the Ellison logo. So use it however you wish, but don't throw it away. It's always going to come in handy. So then we'll take another piece and we'll peel the backing before attaching that, because I do like just a little bit of depth there. There's my tree in the center. And you know what? I need something. I need that last minute sort of magic bullet to bring it all together. And in this case, I'm using my Sizzix glue gun and some natural twine. So we'll pop that there for a bow. And we'll take some black twine. And you can see also when I bring the packaging back in, I use the black on the gift wrap as well. Oops, upside down. There we are. So those are the two card fronts. Let's bring the cards back in to show you how they ended up. But I think we've got an idea there of the techniques. And these are the two cards. So we've got the silver tree there, and we've got our lovely gingerbread man. And you can see I stamped a sort of a postmark on the front of his tummy there as well. And let's bring back in the package. Now, this is interesting. You see the tag on the top? You see how it's what I did, I inked through and then I die cut it in an offset fashion. Like we did before. So that's how you get this kind of light and shade going on there. You see the packaging itself all the way around. I just kept step repeat, peel it off, ink, peel it off, ink. Took me about 10 minutes, I think. And it was quite a big sheet, in truth. Then next up, we have this lovely package. Again, you can see this time, rather than attach it to the card, we made it into a tag. But think about how you could use these. Think about the kinds of things, your table decor, your place settings, Christmas crackers even. Get some craft card or craft paper, make your own Christmas crackers, stick these on the front, and you have that uniformity running through. You could cut a load of these trees, you could have them as a garland over your fireplace. You could make Christmas ornaments, you could hang them on your tree. You can really go to town. But you guys, I know that you've got the imagination. You know where you're going to be going with ideas like this, but don't just think of die cutting as cutting the shape and then putting it onto a project. There is so much more to it when you know the great products that we have, when you know that there are cool techniques like this. You can take a very, very simple die set like the Christmas basic shapes, and you can make it whatever you want. And that, my friends, is the beauty of making. Thank you very much for joining me today. Please check out the website, go and look at the different hubs, particularly this time of year. There's so much inspiration from all the different makers, myself, Jess, we got Debbie, we've got Alexis. There will be tons of ideas. I steal some of them myself every day. So it's great to see you, and I'll see you again soon.